I feel like Chip Skylark. My shiny teeth and me. What's going on, everybody? We got the StreamYard going, but it's just me. No guests today. Interviews will start back up next week. I wanted to. So, for those who've been asking, it's been kind of brought up, what happened to the recaps? The people that I want to feature, we couldn't get a schedule going. And I know what you're probably thinking, well, should have planned. I've been planning for like 3 months and we still couldn't get a schedule going. And I didn't want to rush it. So the recap may come. It just may come at a later date. At this point, we moved from 6A, season 6, part A. Then we did the album, which is the mid-season series, and now we in 6B. Moving forward, the titles of the episode will be shown the day of the episode. The format is being changed for the title, so no more being like today's title is. We just gonna jump straight into like the meme of the week and that kind of thing. But I have a lot to say on this one, and I think it's gonna be really, really good. And yeah. So today, the meme reads, be so unbothered and undefended that even when someone is trying to get under your skin, you get under theirs. So basically, today's episode is about being unbothered. And now, although my audience is men and women, this one is more for the fellas because I do feel like there is an attack on men. And I want this episode to be for those who struggle with being unbothered. Now, ladies, you may not, a lot of stuff you probably can disagree with or just laugh at. But if you struggle being unbothered, we got something for you too, because obviously I'm going to discuss some ways, but there's some things I got to talk about, and let's just get into it. So, inspirations for this week come from the phrase, the sassy man apocalypse. So now, that's one of the inspirations. Another inspiration comes from a tweet I saw and I thought was interesting, and it was discussed, and this girl was basically like, she want a man that's so like, I guess, into himself. Now, this was what was told to me. I couldn't find the actual tweet, but basically saying like he's so into himself that people think that he's gay. That's what she said. And I'm gonna get into that in a minute. And then the infamous Bible verse from Proverbs 19:23 from the Message Bible. Those that love the Lord will live and be content, unbothered by trouble. All right. So now let's get into the story time, because it's me by myself. And today's story is titled Unbothered Eugene. All right. Eugene was the most unbothered person. The most unbothered person you'd ever meet. He didn't care what anybody thought about him. He did what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it, and he was also very carefree. He wore what he wanted to wear, watched what he wanted to watch, and ate what he wanted to eat, despite how grossed out everybody else was. And even despite confusion or anger from others, he continued to say what he needed to say. He was the definition of a person who would be carefree and unbothered, even when people tried to take him down or call him out on his mess. He didn't care. He stood his ground. He believed in what he believed, and he continued to be unbothered Eugene. All right. So let's get into the lessons for the story today. The first lesson is, although that was an extreme case, it's best to be unbothered. It's best to not care what people think about you. It's best to live how you want to live. Obviously, the way God wants you to live, but not, relying on the opinion of man or stressed about what men think about you, women think about you, animals, cats, dogs, rabbits. Another lesson is that you have to do what you want. A lot of times people don't do certain things out of fear of other people or how they feel. And then it just becomes a whole, trickle effect that it never ends well. But the moral of the story, ultimately, with Unbothered Eugene, is that, look, y'all, you have to be so comfortable in you. You have to be so unbothered and unfazed, because there are going to be people who try to intentionally take you out, intentionally try to make you mad, intentionally try to pick at you. And you have to be so unfazed, unoffended, all that good stuff, right? So yeah. All right, all right. So let's move into the definitions for the week. So I went ahead and defined sassy. And the definition is lively, bold, and full of spirit, cheeky. Then I went ahead and defined glizzy. And you probably think, why am I talking about glizzy? Because this goes into everything with what we're talking about today with the whole, people can't even eat glizzies no more. For those that don't know what a glizzy is, the definition of it is a hot dog. And you're like, why can't people eat glizzies? Because people think that when a man is eating a glizzy, they are anything banana shaped, hot dog shaped, any of that is on some like it's sus or sassy. And then I define unbothered, which is showing a feeling of lack of concern about or interest in something. And I went ahead and defined peace. And it says freedom from disturbance, tranquility. All right. Now, still to this day, top 3 favorite segments, QTNA, questions that need addressing. Okay, so the first question, I obviously answered it, said, what is a glizzy? A glizzy is a hot dog. And as I stated, if you eat a glizzy and you're a dude, people gonna lie that's gay. And it's a song called Glizzy Gobblers. And it's a picture of a glizzy. And it has and it has like a scope and a gun on it. It's on Apple. And in the song, the dude was like, and I eat my glizzy and I eat it from the side, eat it from the side. Because if you eat it the regular way, supposedly, sus. If you eat it from the side, it's like you look foolish, but he doing whatever it takes to not be looked at as a way. But in the same breath, to me, you too bothered by what people think. The second question. Is there a time that you need to be bothered? Absolutely. There are times you need to be bothered, and we're going to get to that a little later when we get into the weekly sabbatical. So stay tuned for that. Number 3, the big kahuna for this episode, I think, it's talking about the sassy man apocalypse. Women posted every week. It was one picture I saw, and it was like the Sesame Street people, and it was like, it was like they're supposed to be imitating. It was like men these days, and it was like it was the dudes, and they was like, yeah, we sassy, and you not giving. And it's just like these ladies feel like we're in a sassy man apocalypse. So you may be thinking, well, what is sassy? What do women call sassy? Or what do people call sassy in general? So I have a list of things. So getting manicures and pedicures is now considered sassy. Eating globulins, eating glizzies or objects that favor, shaped things, that's sassy. Clapping back. So men can't do nothing. So I feel like if a dude, and I have a story for y'all later, you let me know what you think. If like a dude is somebody say something crazy to him, and I guess he comes back in a way that's considered sassy, or he even claps back at all, or call it a clap back, or he even responds, that's sassy. Because as a man, you should just be quiet, Smoking hookah. Now I don't do that, but y'all seen the post. It was a while ago. It was like, if you smoking hookah, if you're a man smoking hookah, you basically saying you bisexual. I was like, well, and then everybody was like, this is stupid. This is stupid. Like I said, hookah don't do nothing for me. Praising the Lord publicly is always looked, weak or feminine. It just has, unfortunately. Arguing with a woman, so it's like, if a woman come at you, you ain't supposed to say nothing. If a woman come at you and you don't say nothing and you ignore her, sassy. If you argue back, sassy. If you block her on social media, sassy. Got a story about that. So it's like, what are you supposed to do? Just instantly start apologizing? Like, I don't get that. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. But let's continue. So playing video games, I don't think it's considered sassy. I think it's just considered like lame to women. Some, not all. Changing your hair color is considered sassy. Wearing hoochie daddies, short shorts, which I fail to realize is men was doing that in the 80s and 90s. So that's just a trend that it came back. Now the name is a little sassy, I'll give you that, but that's not really sassy. and discussing feelings. And the infamous one, which I'm about to do in a few minutes, go to brunch. Go to brunch. You sassy. So I guess eating breakfast and lunch at the same time is sassy. Okay. So what are we supposed to do? I don't get that one. That one is a little strange to me. I don't get it. Here's the thing with the whole sassy thing. And this is the purpose of this episode, because no matter what you do, you're going to be called something. And that's the main point overall for the episode. People going to call you something no matter what you do. You have to be so secure. I first feel like a person, God, and in yourself, that it won't phase you. But that's the problem. A lot of people aren't secure in themselves. And a lot of people feel the need to respond, clap back, and all this other stuff. And some of the comebacks do be looking a little, a little sassy. They do. But I think that it's best that I'll just say this. It's a way to go about it. All right. And then the fourth and final question, why is being unbothered so difficult? Again, I think that, social media makes it difficult. I think being unbothered is difficult because it is a choice. I can't stand when people be like unbothered and they clearly bothered. You're bothered. Because somebody, I know y'all don't like Kevin Gates. Anyway, so many rumors said about him the time he had the sex tape, all this other stuff, and he's even said, I don't respond publicly because I don't care. If you really don't care, it is case by case. But for the most part, if you really don't care, you're not gonna feel the need to respond. If you really don't care. Now, just because you responded to don't mean that you are guilty. Because some people say, well, they responded, so they're guilty. And that's not always true. Sometimes it legit is bothering you. You bothered by it. But don't pretend that you're unbothered or that you don't care, that you're unoffended. Because like I said, like the meme said, people, your goal, and not to necessarily you saying you're trying to get under people's skin, but your goal should be that you so unfazed by people that they're mad at you because you're not phased. That should be the goal. That should ultimately be the goal where they like, I'm trying to get under so-and-so skin. They ain't phased by it. That's how they should feel. Now, let's move into what does this have to do with mental health? From healingpics.com, it says being unbothered means you don't allow situations in your life to affect your emotional state. Okay, I like that. You don't allow stuff to affect your emotions. Unbothered people don't let the drama and negativity stop them from being themselves. Instead, they make their own way through things and don't bring negative energy into their lives. If you like being to be unbothered, start by learning how to listen to yourself. Your inner voice is your best guide. So again, with that one, you have to listen to what you want and know what you want. DMX voice, what these want from a nigga. What do you want from you? What makes you feel good? What makes you say, here's the thing too. If you like something, you are worried. If your first thought is, does this look a certain way? That's probably one of the signs like you care too much what people think. Again, it's case by case. Like, let's do something close. Say this shirt you like. You be like, well, does this look a little like this, or does it look a little weird? Then you care too much what people think. Because I mean, look at Dennis Rodman. That was King Sassy. And I look at and I think of two people instantly. I think of y'all favorite Lil Murder, and I think of Dennis Rodman. Only one of them was gay. Think about that. But Dennis Rodman, But even then, but still, with Dennis Rodman, he's the king of the sassy man. He's the king of the sassy man. The sassy man apocalypse, he's the king of it. And I think it's funny because with this episode, I hate that women are instantly doing this to us. I hate that they quick to be like, you're sassy, you're sassy, you're sassy. Because again, it's like it's going to the narrative that y'all hate black men. And can y'all argue that black men hate black women? Yeah. I mean, I'm a realist. So I could see both sides, but this proves that. And the story that I'm getting into later really gonna prove that y'all hate black men. The same source says this power of being unbothered is the result of healing the wounds that have caused you to be bothered in the first place. You will also be able to identify the triggers that make you upset and remove them. So I put that social media makes it hard to be unbothered. You see so much on there. Let me say this. It's so many things I see that I think is ignorant, loud, and wrong. And I just continue scrolling because guess what? I don't care. I don't care to respond. It don't have nothing to do with me. You know how many times somebody says something to me? And what you also need to do before I even get into like the tips, but I'll say this now. Catch yourself before you respond. Take a step back. I actually did it today. Somebody said something to me, and they weren't being rude. They were actually asking a question, and my first response was to say something that was semi kind of combative. And I waited and I responded in a different way, and I was happy I did it. So sometimes I think a lot of the times is just sit back and take it in first before you respond. Caring about others' opinions makes it hard to be unbothered. We know that. And I hate when people say just don't care. That sound good, but it's a struggle. That's not nothing. I mean, I think if a lot of people could just not care, they would, but it legit is a struggle. As a man, it can be difficult if it can be difficult. It can make you feel away or trigger some depression or anxiety because it's like when you're fearful to do things and certain things because of what others may think. Maybe go back to the first part about with the source said about healing those inner parts. You have to get to the source. You have to get to the root. And if you don't know the root, it's gonna keep rooting. It's gonna keep rooting you. You know what I mean? And I just don't like that. You know, I think that people can't be frustrated. It's like men can't be frustrated no more. It's like we just gotta. What do we? It's like men have to go back to the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, man, 2000s, really, early 2000s, where it's just like you don't care about nothing. You ain't bothered by nothing. Do I think a lot of these men are crybaby these days? Yeah, there's a difference between expressing your emotion and being a crybaby. And I think a lot of times now, a lot of men are crybabies. And I think women feel like they the ones that should be overly emotional. But then it's like say y'all want y'all men to show emotion. Now he's showing too much emotion. And like I said, men can't win. But I think I cover most stuff when it says sassy. But what do y'all think about the whole sassy apocalypse? Do y'all believe that all these men are sassy? Because going back to the tweet that I was saying earlier, the girl was basically saying like she liked men who took care of themselves, well groomed, dressed a certain way. That makes sense. Beginning of time, if you dress fly, you're a little sassy, you're a little, ain't been saying that. But that's what she wanted. She wanted him to be so well groomed to take care of himself and all that stuff and pedicures and all that. Because and I saw a tweet and they was like, we can't even get our feet done because all the men taking up the spots. So and then one girl she clapped back for the men and said, so y'all want men with all their black toenails? Because dudes did used to be saying that their girls' feet got to be done and they had black toenails. How do y'all toenails be getting black? Some of y'all toenails be black. Y'all ain't playing out one sport. So what was y'all doing? And some people are my feet because I play sports too. My feet don't look like that. It looks like y'all literally was just kicking something, stepping on something. I don't know what y'all were doing. I really want to know. Now that's a question that needs answer. Why is y'all feet black? I mean, if you black, it makes sense. But I'm saying, like, why is y'all toenails black? Like, what was y'all doing? I know I had no one person that was like their mom used to buy them two little shoes. So that maybe that was the case. Is that everybody's story? Did y'all all live the same life? Everybody, mama bought them two little shoes, and y'all mamas need to be in jail. Cause why was she buying y'all two little shoes? My mama and daddy would never. They would get mad at me when you go to the shoe place and you put your foot in the shoe, and you know how they feel it at the top, and they be like, "Take these shoes off, them too little." Because I wanted them real bad, but they was too no, them too little, I'm too little. That's my daddy, but that's how he would be. So y'all mamas would really be buying y'all two little shoes and thought that was okay. I don't know. That's weird to me. All right, y'all. Let's move into the other infamous segment, the weekly sabbatical. And this time we reflect, all right, as we always know how it does. So when women are saying these things, it makes me feel away. And some of y'all, I be wanting to call when y'all be going on y'all rants with each other about the whole sassy thing, and then be dating the sassiest nigga of them all, like the legit, literal final boss. I be wanting to call some of y'all some wenches, and that's an old school word, wench. You know. Now it's funny because in feudal Japan, it's pronounced wench, but nigga's nigga, so it's wench. But I be want to call some y'all wenches. Now I got a story. A few years ago, I was into it. There's a big situation going on, and this girl texted me going off in paragraph form. I remember being at the gym. I was actually on the elliptical. This was during my first weight loss journey, and my second one, if y'all ain't know. And she texted my phone going off. She was justified for her feelings. Where she went wrong was she called me the B word at the end. She was like, and so when I seen the message, I instantly blocked her number. Is that sassy? Because if I would have went back and forth with her, I'm sassy. If I would have called her name, I'm sassy. Me blocking her, am I sassy? And my thing is, even if I am considered sassy, at least I'm peaceful and sassy because now I don't have to deal with that because you blocked. Because at this point, people have the wrong impression of me and the block button. I think people think like, oh, you make me mad, I'm blocking you. No, no, no. I block you when you harassing me. If I feel harassed, you blocked. And because I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. And I have that right. You're not going to harass me on the phone you don't pay on. You're not, because what if I had low self-esteem and which I had before, but I had low self-esteem and I was mentally going through it. And those comments were what would have sent me over the edge. Then what? Would I still be considered sassy if I blocked her? I think that it was me like, okay, you know what? My logic was you're irate. This is not gonna go nowhere. So I'm finna block you. And I wasn't wrong for that because, like I said, no matter what scenario, man, that's the main point of this episode. Men gonna be considered sassy no matter what they do. So it's like, at least if you sassy, be peaceful and sassy, sassy and peaceful. There we go, sassy and peaceful versus sassy and angry, or sassy and pissed off, or sassy and hungry, or sassy and abusive. I think sassy and peaceful, it's like the yin and yang almost. So in that scenario, and in most, I'm okay with that. Now, as I stated earlier, the question was asked, are there times when it's okay to be bothered? Yes. When you see things that are not right, grown people beating up kids, injustices of all kind, when you see people lying, not lying, but somebody's always lying to you. When somebody owes you money and they flaunting on Instagram and you know they owe you money. Or what's another one? What's another one that you should be okay with being bothered about? People disrespecting your friend, people disrespecting God, or stuff that's blatantly evil that people call good, and stuff that's good that people call evil. We ain't getting into the conspiracy today, but one I am going to get into. Let's talk Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish. Now, for those that don't know, recently Aries Spears went public and talked about Lizzo and her being fat and all this other stuff. And not too many days later, it seemed, a video leaked of an old comedy skit between him and Tiffany Haddish. Now, I watched Don't Call Me White Girl podcast. Shout out to her. And a lot of her commentary I was agreeing with. And basically, I ended up finding the video. I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw some of it. I have a very dark sense of humor. Like, low-key, I might need to get checked out. But that was a little too dark for me. Because if we all know dark humor and satire, which is the purpose of this podcast, is satire to make it fun of something with the effort that it would change. I get kind of the approach, but then it's like, I don't know. because again, they kind of showing you what really be going down in these, elite circles. But what I will, well, neither of them was elite at the time, and Aries Spears still really ain't. Great comedian, but he just not elite in the circle. But um, it was basically, she made a comment, "Don't call me white girl." She's talking about some, I don't even F with the police, but they need to go to jail. They do. That it was disturbing. And then it was just like, and she made the comment talking about the parents, that the parents know what they signed. I feel like it was like the Little Mermaid when she signed the thing and Ursula didn't let her look at it all the way. She just like sign, 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 and she signed it, and then she signed the life away, took a voice. It's kind of like that. And they took the little boy voice. Well, I mean, he used his voice, but they used him for the skit, which was a pun at pedophilia. And it was very dark and it was very nasty. Like I said, it ain't some menaces. My thing is, y'all worried about me, but these are some real menaces. All the real menaces out here, y'all ain't worried about. Y'all glaze past, but y'all worried about me. I don't get it. I don't get it. It don't make sense to me. Like I said, but this is beyond me. Like I said, y'all need to throw them in the jail. But here's how, like, don't call me white girl said. Here's how I know y'all just don't like black men. Y'all trying to paint Tiffany Haddish like she's the savior, or like she ain't know what was going on, as if she wasn't on the skit and probably didn't help write it and probably wrote it. Y'all hate black men so much that y'all trying to just Aries Spears, he wrong for that, even though he said blatantly he ain't backing down. He ain't no coward. And in one weird way, you gotta respect it. I don't think he should be canceled, because in the same breath, it was wrong. If he say he was wrong and apologize for it, and that's all he could do. But I don't think he apologized. But what I'll say is, like I said, y'all just hate black men. Y'all just say, we hate black men. You attack us for eating glizzies. You attack us for being, groomed. This what y'all wanted. Y'all hated niggas with fungi feet. Y'all hated niggas that was ashy and that stank. Now we smell good. Our feet is done. We wearing, y'all talk about how y'all like the legs out on one end and calling it sassy on the other end. You know what I'm saying? So what is it? Make up your mind. Make up your mind, because somebody who's really bothered by this, that's really bothering them. But this is the real menace. That video was the real menace, and for some reason, well, it's been an uproar, but still, I think that he, like I said, needs to publicly apologize. I know he can't really speak on it, and Tiffany can't speak on it at the moment. But what do y'all think about that? It's gross. Like I said, they're kind of taking it down offline now, but it was from what the little bit I saw, it was a lot. It was a lot. So now I end up with saying, y'all just don't like black men. And yeah, I'm gonna end up with that. Aries Spears, if you see this, you was wild for that, but you don't deserve all the blame. Now let's move into 4 tips to remain unbothered by Zuri on lifeontheland.com. The first one is obvious. It says care less. The first step to becoming unbothered is develop the ability to care less. There should always be an element of care in whatever you do or choose to do, of course, but sometimes the only thing to keep you from going is to let go and care less about the situation. The second one says to let go. It says letting go of what you can't control is the next step. When it comes to other people, it is important to remember that you can't control other people or their people's choices. People have the right to self-determination, a social work value that I always keep in mind in order to help me remain unbothered. It says 3, take emotions out of it. The goal here is not to be a cold and unemotional robot. But the key is to take the emotions out as much as possible. Also, take the time to combine tips 2 and 3 and be able to let go of emotions when it begins to become a little bit too much. The fourth one, shrug it off. Last but not least, the biggest tip to be unbothered is to be able to shrug it off and whatever needs to be shrugged off. So I think of like Mariah Carey, shake it off. I gotta shake it off like that. Well, Taylor Swift got one too, but hers is unseasoned. And then the fifth one, this is not a part of the list. This is just me. I just really believe in seeking God and praying and asking God to remove that bothered spirit from you because it can't overtake you. But and it can be hard to really truly live and enjoy life if you bothered by every little thing, or you can't live just not caring. You want to being unbothered. You can be so unbothered to where it's not good because then it's like you don't care about nothing and you don't want to be like a corpse, like a dead man, just don't care about nothing. But in the same breath, you want to be a step above it. Not a corpse, but like not all the way alive, if that makes sense. I'm trying to explain it in a way because it's like you ain't all the way alive to where you feel everything, but you ain't all the way dead where you feel nothing. It's like you feel it enough to where, but you still just ain't moved by it. And it's a process. It don't happen overnight, but it's definitely a process. And like I said, it's times we need to be bothered. And like I said, being too unbothered can be a bad thing as well. To end off with this episode, again, if you're a dude, don't let these women try and destroy you. Because like I said, it is, a post saying like men can't do nothing. And you can do whatever you want. But you also need to get to the point too where you accept that criticism is gonna come. And even not with the shallow stuff like the brunch and the hoochie daddy shorts. But when you really living in your calling, remember, people gonna be used to intentionally try to make you feel away. You gonna have to get to the point where nothing phases you. Although Aries Spears is unbothered in the wrong situation, I want that unbotheredness where you did some wild stuff and being hated on. This man said that he ain't even turned his comments on his Instagram off. He ain't deleted no social media, which, like I said, you have to respect that. And that's how unbothered he is. We can learn a lesson from that. You in a situation that's actually wild as hell. Wow. Like wow. And you just like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So that's something to think about, something to keep in the back of your mind. But then again, I also want to say, Cat Williams was right. You know what I'm talking about? Get on YouTube. Them people y'all always be calling crazy be right. Team Cat all day. I've always been Team Cat. Watch the interview he had with that lady. All right, so the question, the challenge for the week: how do you plan to incorporate these skills for being unbothered in the future, or were you already unbothered? So if you was already unbothered, then I ain't got to incorporate nothing because I was already unbothered. And the question challenges post will start back this week. Took a break a little while. They were still there, but they wasn't like recapping. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have nothing else today. Me alone. Next week, the interviews come back. Thank y'all for bearing with me. Thank y'all for laughing with me. Thank y'all for giving y'all feedback because I know it's going to be this a good one. And I know a lot of feedback. Okay. All right, y'all. So PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are and make your mind up. Don't let it make you. All right.